Let's use the power rule and the product rule to find the derivative of f of x equals the product of 3x squared minus 6x plus 2 all times 1 over x. And it really helps with algebra if we rewrite 1 over x as x to the negative 1 power. So we're actually going to do that first. We've got f of x is equal to 3x squared minus 6x plus 2 times x to the negative 1. Because that makes it easier for us to multiply term by term. So we have 3x to the 2 minus 1. So we add the exponents, minus 6x to the 1 minus 1, plus 2x to the negative 1. So 2 minus 1, that's 1. That's just 3x. 1 minus 1 is 0. So this is just minus 6. And then plus 2 to the x times x to the negative 1. If that is f of x, we know how to find the derivative using the power rule. So let's remember the power rule. If f of x equals ax to the n, then f prime of x is n times a times x to the n minus 1. So we've got that in our toolkit. And let's go through and mark exponents here. This is 3x to the 1. So the exponent here is 1. The coefficient is 3. And we're left with x to the 1 minus 1. The next term is a constant, so that will have a derivative of 0. The next term has an exponent of negative 1, a coefficient of 2, and then we're going to reduce the exponent of x by 1. So we get 3 x to the 0 is just 1 minus 2x to the negative 2. And now let's write this second term using correct notation. Or this is correct, but using fraction notation. So this is 3 minus 2 over x squared. This is f prime of x using the power rule. Now let's use the product rule. So f equals gh, f prime equals g prime h plus h prime g. Alrighty. And we already said that f of x is 3x squared minus 6x plus 2 times x to the negative 1. Okay, groovy. Let's call this first factor g of x, the second factor h of x. We need to find g prime and h prime. Here, the exponent of the first term is a 2. The coefficient is a 3. And then we have x to the 2 minus 1. The exponent is a 1. The coefficient is a -6. And we reduce the exponent by 1. And the derivative of a constant is 0. So let's make this prettier. We have 6x minus 6. That's g prime. H prime. The exponent is a -1. The coefficient is a 1. And we're reducing the exponent by 1. So -1 minus 1. And that gives us negative x to the -2. And you could put -1x if you want to. We do not want to write this as -1 over x squared yet, because we still have to do some algebra. So let's see. We know that f prime is g prime h plus h prime g. So let's fill in. So got everything. G prime was 6x minus 6. H is x to the -1. H prime was negative x to the -2. And g was 3x squared minus 6x plus 2. Alrighty. So we have 6x. This is an exponent of 1. So we've got 1 minus 1. Since we're multiplying the bases, we add the exponents. Minus 6x to the -1. That's the second terms. And then negative 3x. We have a -2 plus 2. Negative from here, but there's a negative here again. So negative times a negative is positive. 6x. And then we have -2 plus 1. And finally, negative times 2 is -2x to the -2. Groovy. 1 minus 1 is 0, so 6x to the 0 is just 6. Minus 6x to the -1. Let's see, minus 3x to the 0, so this is just a -3. Plus 6x to the -1 minus 2x to the -2. Okay, let's see. Here we've got like terms. 6 minus 3 is 3. Negative 6x to the negative 1 plus 6x to the negative 1. Those just go away. We just have one more term. Minus 2x to the negative 2. And that's exactly what we got before. 3 minus 2x to the negative 2. Okay, well, let's do the second part. We know that f of x was when we multiplied everything out, what did we have? Three x minus 6 plus 2x to the negative 1. And we said that f prime of x was 3 minus 2x to the negative 2. We need to find f of 1. So let's see, f of equals that we're going to substitute in 1 for x because our point is 1 f of 1. So this gives us 3 minus 6, 1 to the negative 1. Well, that's just 1 over 1 to the positive 1. So 1 over 1 is just 1. And 1 is nice. 1 raised to any exponent that you can imagine is still 1. So 2 times 1 is 2. 2 and 3 are 5, minus 6 is negative 1. So our point, 1 f of 1 is 1 negative 1. And we also need the slope at 1. Three minus 2 times x to the negative 2. And again, we're plugging in 1. So we have 3 minus 2 times, this is, let's see, 1 to the negative 2 is 1 over 1 squared, because the negative says move this whole thing to the denominator. 1 squared is 1, and 1 divided by 1 is just 1. And like I said, 1 raised to any exponent is 1. So I'm just multiplying the 2 by 1. 3 minus 2 is 1. So our slope is 1, and the point is 1 negative 1. To find the equation of the line, y equals mx plus b is the slope intercept form of a line. We said that m was 1 because f prime of the number we were given, our c in this case, was 1. And f prime of 1 was 1. I know, loads of 1s floating around. X is also 1. y is -1. And we want to solve for b. So we have -1 equals 1 plus b. Subtract 1 from both sides. We get that -2 is equal to b. That means that the y-intercept of our line is 0, b. In this case, 0, -2. Zero, -2. And I see this makes sense because we have a slope of 1, up 1 over 1. All right. So the equation of our line is y equals 1x, or just x, minus 2. And as you can see from this graph, where I use Desmos to graph f of x is equal to 3x minus 6 plus 2x to the -1. Our point was 1, f of 1, and f of 1 was -1. And y is equal to x minus 2. That was our tangent line, and it all fits very nicely.